I requested this gentleman to sanitize the microphone a little better, because quite a number of you have talked about my age. And you know what that means. And I want to thank those who have wished me well. When the LSK president was talking, it's like he was bidding me farewell. I'm still around for a while. We have quite a number of things to do. As you know, the judiciary has a very, very strict protocol. A retiring judge takes terminal leave. So when my time comes, I will receive a letter from the CRJ asking me to take terminal leave. I believe that will be somewhere in November. So I'm still around. Don't worry. I'm still around, and we are going to meet in a number of functions. The Honorable Deputy Chief Justice, Justice Philomena Mwilu, the judges of the Supreme Court here present, the President of the Court of Appeal and the judges of the Superior Court here present, the Commissioners of the Judicial Service Commission, Mr. Aden Mohamed, the CS, East African Affairs, Mr. Uching, representing Mr. Mucheru, the Minister, the CS ICT, Your Excellency, Franz McCann, the Netherlands Ambassador to Kenya, the Chief Registrar of the Judiciary, the Director of Public Prosecutions, Mr. Nudin Haji, the CEO of ESCC, Mr. Mubarak, the President of the Law Society of Kenya, all heads of the agencies of the NCAJ represented here, all protocols observed, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Today is a great day for the judiciary and the administration of justice in general. It marks the singular most important step in our long journey to harnessing information technology as an integral part of our service delivery to our people. It's exactly 10 years ago when the digitization of the court records was identified as a critical aspect of the judicial reforms by the task force then headed by the Honorable Justice William Ouko, the present Court of Appeal President, in 2010. This is what the East Task Force said then, and I quote, "An ICT policy and a master plan should be operationalized in the judiciary to ensure strategic development of ICT infrastructure and systems for present and future needs." He further observed that judicial reforms must always focus on information and communication management in the institution, and that resources should be provided to the judiciary to facilitate digitization of the court records, automation of the court proceedings, and the establishment of interactive databases, end of quote. Subsequently, there have been many reports and many efforts to mainstream ICT as an integral feature in the judiciary's day-to-day work. For example, the Judiciary Information Communication Technology Committee, chaired by the retired Justice Philip Waki, even as far back as 2011, was spearheading many infrastructural and other initiatives aimed at mainstreaming technology in the judiciary. Along the way, countless pilot projects have been undertaken, most of them at the Milimani Law Courts, but the rollout of the extensive digitization has remained elusive, with one challenge being consistent over the years: lack of funds to move beyond the pilot stage. Some of these pilot projects have proven to be highly successful. The implementation of the e-filing system at the Milimani Law Courts, undertaken in close collaboration with Mr. Aden Mohamed, then CS for Industrialization, and he holds that fort up to now, I believe, has, for instance, directly contributed to the improvement of Kenya's ease of doing business. I want to make a remark here that we want to do our very best. We are doing and we want to continue doing our very best, Mr. Aden, to have our country rank high in the ease of business, of doing business, so that we can attract investment. You have emphasized that. You have talked about the time it takes to finalize cases. And the figure, I mean, the number of 465 days are there in our records, and you have mentioned that. When in other jurisdictions, less than 200 days are taken in finalizing dispute resolution resolutions, so that investors can be attracted. This requires not only cooperation, but resources. And I'm sure that you will take the message that you have talked to the relevant authorities to ensure that we have resources so that we can go on. While most of these projects are yet to have a judiciary-wide impact, they have reaffirmed our institutional capacity to adapt to technology and to manage it for the benefit of our stakeholders. Indeed, it is from the experiences and the lessons learned in the pilots that we have reached where we are today. It has also been through the effort of the entire judiciary juggernaut, driven by the desire to succeed, that has enabled us to come this far. Ladies and gentlemen, from the onset, increased use of ICT has been identified as a key plank in our efforts to transform the judiciary into a modern, progressive institution that is succinctly responsive to the needs of the people we serve. The Judiciary Transformation Framework, launched in 2012 by the retired Justice Willy Mutunga, and my own blueprint, Sustaining Judiciary Transformation, were very clear on this. When I launched the SJT in January 2017, we shifted from the institutional building and the capacity development agenda that defined JTF and focused on a service delivery agenda. SJT emphasizes the improvement in the speed and quality of service delivery in the judiciary by increasing efficiency and effectiveness at the individual and system levels. One of our primary initiatives was the design and adoption of a digital strategy that sought to boost not only judicial operations, but also enterprise resource planning capabilities in order to assist in our administration functions. Central to this was the establishment of an ICT infrastructure that would support these initiatives, including provision of internet access to all our courts, as well as enhancement of our security and disaster recovery capabilities. As we speak, all our courts except Mbarambala and Kakuma law courts, which are in the far-flung areas, are all connected to reliable internet. These efforts are anchored on the Judiciary ICT Master Plan 2018-2022, an ambitious blueprint that once fully implemented will see the judiciary reap the full benefits of technology and dramatically improve our ability to deliver a service efficiently and effectively, as well as equitably. Equity is an important variable here. No matter how efficient and effective we become, it will do little good to the people of Kenya if, by having excellent ICT assets, such as what we are inaugurating today, it results in only a few privileged people being able to make use of it. If what we are launching today locks out sections of the community, or is discriminatory and shows partiality to a class of litigants, we will have failed. Conscious of this, we have taken care to ensure that everyone is well served by all the technological initiatives we adopt. I'll revert to that a little later. Ladies and gentlemen, the electronic filing system we are launching today has been under development for the last 3 years. It is a robust system that will fundamentally change the way judicial officers and judicial staff work, as well as the way court users interface with the courts. Even though case filing is the core function of the system, it represents a transformation that touches on almost all courtroom activities. I have heard some people ask whether, upon filing their documents online, they will be printed and put in physical files for use when they come to court. The answer to that is an emphatic no. The digitization is total, meaning that in the courtroom, all parties will access case materials online. Even when hearings are going on, all parties will have access to the documents online. Some people said they can always have their own physical files. That's fine. That's fine. Mr. Harvey, with your team, and I don't think that is going to be the case, or any other parties. If they want to have their physical files, that's fine. But for us in the system, for the judges and the magistrates and everybody in the judiciary, we will only have electronic files. This means that the operation of the court registries, as we know it today, will drastically change. Court documents previously stored and retrieved in physical files will henceforth be stored and retrieved in soft form from the digital registry. This system, which I'm proud to say, has been designed, developed, and implemented by our own Judiciary Directorate of ICT has many advantages and is expected to significantly impact on the speed, accuracy, and efficiency of service delivery. One of the significant advantages of digitization is the assurance of the integrity of court files. Those who have been in the judiciary or in the legal system for a while will tell you that we have had serious challenges of even some some documents, not even by any malicious act, just getting misplaced from the file. Some of them happen to be even exhibits, which, if parties had not kept any records, it becomes extremely difficult to end a matter. So with that, and even some proceedings or court records not having all the documents, as a result, we have had quite a number of challenges. But with the digitization, that problem will be overcome, and we will be able to move on. You have also, and I'm sure quite a number of practitioners here and even the litigants know the challenges we have had and the frustrations we have had with the misplacement and loss of files. Let me confess here that sometimes the files don't get lost. Malicious acts of some of our staff in collusion with the outsiders, those who perhaps don't want their cases to go on, or for one reason or the other, don't want a file to come before the judge, just take a file from its bundle and puts it in a wrong bundle. And it takes a long, long time, and sometimes even after some time, that same fellow pulls that file and says, oh, the file we have been looking for is here. That is something we are going to go over, and it will be a thing of the past. And I think that is a significant advantage. The other challenge stakeholders in the justice sector have faced is the authentication of court orders. We have occasionally had situations where orders have been issued for the release of accused persons or those who are in remand in prison. And quite genuinely, the prison authorities look at some of the documents, depending especially on the typeset, and wonder whether or not they are genuine. And it takes quite a while. You find that sometimes somebody has been released, and it takes about 2-3 days for him to be set free from prison, because the prison authorities wanted to make sure that the order they are acting on is authentic. The system we are launching today will seamlessly integrate with all major stakeholders, such as the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, the Prisons Department, and the Probation. And I've asked my ICT people to find a way of how we can integrate with the Lands Office, because the title deeds that we are given as security for bond or bail, we want to be sure that they are authentic, because we have run into problems with some of them which are not authentic. So we will have we want to find a way of integrating with the Ministry of Lands and be able to sort out that problem. I'm happy to note that the ODPP have done their best, and you will see from the demonstration they will show us here, they will be the first stakeholder to integrate with our system. And from the comfort of your office, Mr. DPP, and your people, you will be able to file the charge sheets and other documents, and you don't know how much that will save the public in terms of time and the anxiety of having to wait for a very, very long time. If I say here that there are times when we have come to court, you get magistrates waiting for the accused persons are in court cells, but the file has not come from the office of the ODPP. And it takes several hours before such a matter is dealt with. With that integration, that will also be a thing of the past. The system has many other facets to it. In addition to the cases being registered in the system, it has an automated fee assessment and payment module which utilizes various platforms such as M-Pesa and credit cards to effect the required financial transactions and generate e-receipts. This will minimize the pilferage of court fees and help us to work efficiently. I want to mention here that we are in the final stages of coming out with an integrated fee schedule that will be input in the system in a few days, but that is not going to cause any challenge whatsoever. We have made arrangements of how the court fees will be assessed, and after we integrate that, parties and particularly lawyers, you can file your documents even over the weekend from the comfort of your office, pay fees electronically, and get a case number while you are seated there during the weekend. Other important features include the indexed retrieval and viewing model for judges and magistrates to access documents, the ability to search for cases, and an integrated court calendar. Many litigants, including our brothers and sisters in the diaspora, never get to know what transpires in the hearing of their cases. Since court records are public documents, we will in future make it possible for the public, upon payment of the requisite minimal fees, be allowed or be given access to peruse the court file online. Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, time is among the court's most valuable resources. Our digitization efforts, therefore, must not only merely pander to the prestige of achieving global standards in use of technology, exciting though that is, but also ensure that it adds in improving our efficiency, leading to quicker resolution of the disputes before us. An integral companion of e-filing is the case tracking system, which has been mentioned, which we have already introduced in 60 court stations across the country. The remaining 72 stations will be using the system by end of October this year. The court tracking system involves the monitoring and the managing of cases in the court docket from the time the case is filed to the moment it is finally disposed by either trial, settlement, or otherwise. When optimally used, it ensures that all cases progress swiftly without unnecessary delay, and feedback is given to the judiciary leadership when challenges occur in any of our courts. An integral part of the case tracking system is a messaging service that allows us to send updates to our clients through SMS. The clients can themselves prompt the updates by sending SMS with the case tracking number to the short code number 22490. So you can see we are going to offer services. Even litigants who want to know the status of their case. All they need is to send an SMS, and it will be responded to, and they will be told what is happening, instead of having to travel long distances to come and peruse the court file to know the position. Besides the case tracking system, the judiciary is also implementing a digital court recording and transcription system in 32 courtrooms around the country. 6 courtrooms in the commercial division of the High Court at Milimani are already operational, while installation is currently being done in another 26 courts, including the Anti-Corruption Court in Nairobi. The full implementation of this system will bring an end to the manual recording of court proceedings. The audio recorded proceedings will thereafter be passed on to transcribers who, through strict and elaborate procedures, will prepare the official court records in text form. The judiciary has partnered with the Ministry of ICT through the Achira project, which will engage quite a number of our youths in doing the transcription, thereby providing employment to thousands of our young people. Mr. Cheng, I want you to express our sincere gratitude to the CS, Mr. Mucheru. He spoke to me this morning and he tendered his apologies that he was not able to come for the support we have received from the ministry. We want to continue that partnership, and we trust that it is going to assist us a great deal. We have a lot of work still to be done, so we need your assistance. ICT has enormous potential to improve the administration of justice. Indeed, we have seen it come in handy in the enabling justice delivery, in the face of the COVID-19 crisis. We have, since the onset of the pandemic, established virtual courts and engaged litigants through online meeting applications. Hundreds of cases have been heard successfully, despite open court activities being significantly reduced in the wake of the pandemic. You have already heard about how we have had quite a number of applications and appeals online. I have received messages from quite a number of your members, Mr. Harvey, who are very happy that they can be able, to argue cases and don't waste any time at all. We know our city. It takes almost 45 minutes for one to drive from Westlands to come to court. Then he waits in court for the court to get to his case. And then once the matter is finalized, which takes about 30 minutes, he has to drive for another 45 minutes to 1 hour back to his office. All that will be time saved, and I have received quite encouraging messages from litigants and lawyers, and we want to all work together and be able to help, to expedite service delivery. The coronavirus pandemic has in a way become a blessing in disguise. Among the many long-term implications of our increased use of technology is that moving forward, we will no longer require expert witnesses such as the government chemists, pathologists, ballistic experts, and the handwriting experts to appear in court in person. Quite a number of my colleagues here, the trial judges, know how many times we adjourn cases because these witnesses are not able to come. We have a handful, is it 2 or 3 handwriting experts in the country? Ballistic experts are, I don't know, they can't be more than 5. And you find that the cases are adjourned several times, not because these witnesses don't want to come to court, but because they are engaged in other places. A witness, if the same witness is testifying in Mombasa, he needs 2-3 days to travel there, to have, then he is heard, and their evidence normally takes hardly 15 minutes before they come back. I have given firm instructions that going forward, these witnesses will not be summoned anymore. Even if we are having a physical checking of evidence in court, those particular witnesses, we will have to take their evidence online so that we save time. I mean, it will be a pleasure, I am sure, to our doctors to be told that, look, give us 15 minutes of your time. From the comfort of your clinic, just be there at 10 and testify, and we will be done. These are great advances, and I'm very happy and excited about them. These advances are carefully guided by a robust judiciary ICT policy, whose overall objective is to provide a governance framework for the acquisition, use, and disposal of ICT in the judiciary. Key objectives of the policy include ensuring that the security of our data and the information is guaranteed. Indeed, even as we launch this initiative today, one of the most recurrent questions is whether the integrity of the materials filed and stored electronically will be maintained at all times. This has featured. You will recall Mr. Harvey and your team, especially the chair, the Nairobi chapter of the Nairobi branch of the Law Society. We have had meetings on this, and you have actually raised this issue because it's a great, an issue of great concern. I want to assure you that the integrity of the court record will be ensured. Besides the routine security protocols like redundant systems, strong access controls, and encryption, we have implemented specific security measures that reflect global best practices in the data security. Of course, it will be fully hardy for me to enumerate those measures here for obvious reasons, but rest assured that security has been taken care of, and we will have no problem at all. We cannot expect an undertaking of this magnitude to be implemented without any hiccups, either in the performance of the technology or the ability of the people to use it properly. Besides, it is consistent with human nature to be apprehensive about change, sometimes even to the extent of resisting it, only to embrace it later enthusiastically and continue. You know, this plan of technology has been around. When it started, quite a number of us judges, especially the old fogies, had a few problems. I remember one of my colleagues, whom I will not mention, you ask him for his email address, and he tells you it is confidential. Of course, he passes the message very clearly that he doesn't know what you're talking about. So there is that fear of the unknown, and not appearing. And you know, judges and lawyers, we are known as learned people. So to be seen to be ignorant in some of these issues, you don't want to show to the rest of the public that you are ignorant in this. But I want to say this. Let us not be bothered about that. We were not trained as ICT professionals. We are trained as lawyers. The ICT people, Mr. Chiang here, if you ask him a few questions on law, he will be at sea. So why should we be worried if you just say, look, I don't know how to do this, I want assistance. Let us get that out of us and be able to move on. What I would like to assure you today, ladies and gentlemen, is that we shall strive to address all challenges that emerge as we implement the system, and to assist all our stakeholders to adapt to the new requirements as soon as possible and smoothly move on. Towards this end, we have undertaken extensive training, not only for the judiciary staff, but also external stakeholders. As I said earlier, this system will not serve the highest ideals of justice delivery if it is only convenient to a section of the court users. We have therefore initiated various programs aimed at ensuring that ordinary wananchi seeking court services, especially those who may not be familiar with the ICT infrastructure and the court procedures, to be assisted in our court stations. This includes the establishment of the ICT support centers within our stations, where court users, especially the severely indigent, who may not afford the fees charged at the cyber cafes, to come to court and be assisted. On the other hand, cyber cafes which meet our stringent standards will be accredited and their staff trained so that they may assist court users who do not have ICT facilities in their places of work. In further pursuit of inclusivity, we plan to quickly roll out this service to other parts of the country, beginning with Mombasa and Kisumu. As you know, we have a little problem in Mombasa because quite a number of our staff tested positive to the pandemic. As a result, the court operations in Mombasa have literally ground to a halt. I was speaking with the lawyers from Mombasa and the presiding judge of the Mombasa station. They are saying, look, in Nairobi you can operate. Please, why don't you even start that e-filing system in Mombasa? But I told him that, look, the way we have planned things, the way we have, the ICT people have done it, it is not possible to do it immediately. But that is one other thing, Mr. Ickling, you are going to have to do. Move very fast and get Mombasa connected so that they are able to move on. And then we will move on to the other parts. This will start as soon as we have sufficient storage capacity for the heavy data generated in the new system. To this end, we are at an advanced stage in procuring necessary servers and storage capacity to ensure that we achieve this objective as soon as possible. But in any case, not later than 3 months from now. I want to say here that the CRJ has shown me the budget we have for this financial year we have already started. And one of the major programs we have is the establishment of the data center. The establishment of the data center. Buying the servers so that we can assure everybody that we have enough storage. I trust that the amount we have been given will not be slashed. Because if it is, we will grind to a halt. To ensure that the increased use of ICT is fully anchored in law, we have undertaken various initiatives aimed at aligning the new processes to relevant legislations. We have finalized the development of the practice direction, revised the rules, and proposed amendment to the Civil Procedure Act and the Evidence Act, as well as the Criminal Procedure Act, to align the ICT environment and facilitate the widespread adoption of technology. In this regard, we are doing all our very best, and I'm happy to see Justice Musinga here, the chair of the Rules Committee. We are there, and there will be no problem at all. The proposed changes are already being reviewed by our stakeholders, including the Law Society and the general public, and we expect to receive a feedback as soon so that we can be able to complete the process. The code digitization journey has, since the onset, benefited from generous funding from many of our supporters, and I wish to sincerely thank all of them. I would like to single out the International Development Law Organization, for their support and the e-filing initiative from the start, as well as the United Nations Office on Drug and Crime, GIZ, the World Bank, through Judicial Performance Improvement Project, and the Government of Kenya for the support we have received so far. In this regard, I want once again to sincerely thank His Excellency Ambassador Francis McCain. I requested that he be given a minute to say something because of the contribution he has made to this project. He has availed funds, and we are very, very grateful. As you go back, Your Excellency, please go with our gratitude that the people of Kenya appreciate the support we have received from your country. I have already talked about the Ministry of ICT, the support they have given us, and we trust that they will continue to support us. They have undertaken that, and I have no doubt whatsoever, and they will assist us, and we will move on. JSC has been wonderful. The support you have given us, the JSC members, we are grateful, and we will continue to be grateful. I want to single out one or two other people who have worked very, very hard. Jessica Tembu, Cairo, the chair of the Integrated Court Management System Committee, and the entire membership of the committee, and his predecessor, Justice Mwongo. Did I see him here? He may not be here. As well as Justice Souko and Waki, who have already mentioned in the work they have done in the past to assist in this process. The ICT Directorate, led by the Acting Director, Mr. Stephen Eckling, and many other stakeholders who have worked and continue to work hard for the good work they have done. DCJ was telling you that I have pushed them very hard, especially in the last 1 month. I want to sincerely thank you, Eckling, and your team. Karanja and the others, where are you? Please stand up once again. I want to thank you most sincerely for the good work you have done. You know, as you have heard, I'm getting old, so my day starts at about 4 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes I push these people by 8 o'clock if they are not able to connect, and we have a meeting. I can't understand how they can be late at 8 o'clock when I've been up for almost 6 hours. So thank you very much for the good work you have done, and bear with me for the push I have had to throw your way, but you have taken it with stride, and I'm very, very grateful. As Jessica Tembu said, the LSK, ODPP, and the prison department, as well as the probation and all other stakeholders, have been very, very supportive and have supported us. I want to mention here that Mr. Harvey, the president, I received yesterday a letter from the chair of the branch chairs, a message of goodwill and saying that they are going to support us, and we move on. And I'm very, very, very grateful. What I want to say, Mr. Harvey, and with all humility and understanding, the problem we have now, especially with the virtual courts, is because of poor connectivity, internet connectivity. You find one litigant at one end of the country with poor internet connectivity is unable to be heard. Or when he starts, he's breaking, and the proceedings can't go on. That's why, as you said, you take so many minutes asking, my Lord, can you hear me? My Lord, can you see me? It is not entirely the problem with the court system. It may be very well, and I want to say this with humility, not trying to demean anybody. It may be very well the problem with internet connectivity from your offices. Going forward, as we have said, we have no choice, we can't go back. Ask your members to try their best and get stable internet connectivity. And in that regard, Mr. Ching, even when when we are paid, especially in the countryside, admittedly internet connectivity is poor. Let the ministry do something about that so that we can move forward. In this time and age, one of the things we should have as a country is internet connectivity, which is stable to enable us transact the business we have. We are all connecting to this, and we cannot afford to be left behind as a country. I conclude my speech with great hope that this system will generate the necessary impetus to fully integrate ICT into all the justice processes. Honorable judges, judicial officers, ladies and gentlemen, with regard to the use of technology, the proverbial hour is here with us. I'm happy to note that we are all gradually embracing these changes, and we are going to move forward. As the DCJ said, we cannot afford to go back. We cannot afford to be left behind. As a matter of fact, as an arm of government, we should have gotten here more than even 10 years before. And I'm sure our members of parliament some of them must be listening to me. What the judiciary requires is some reasonable funds to be able to run its operations. You have heard the Minister Mr. Aden, how they are being pushed by the investors to ensure that court processes are fast. Because if the court processes are not going to be fast, no investor will be interested in our country. And many other things. So if we don't have enough resources, we will not be able to run this. And as I said, we are here today courtesy of IDLO. If we can't get funding, I'm sorry to tell you, if we can't get funding, this project will fall in another 1 or 2 years. And I'm sure that is not what we want. When I say this, some people think that I have, the media say the CJ cries for this and that. I will continue crying for the Kenyan people. The judiciary budget is hardly even 1% of the entire country's budget. And I was telling the CRJ to tell Treasury that Article 173, which requires that the judiciary budget be deposited in the judiciary fund as soon as the budget is read, because we live in this country and we know that funding may be a challenge at times. And I asked the CRJ to tell the Treasury that, look, you can hold the salaries and remit it to us monthly. But the development funding, like the amounts we need for this kind of project, please give it to us up front so that we are able to plan. If I may tell you, in November last year, we were at the final stages of completing procurement for servers that we so badly need. Just before we issued the tenders, we approved the tenders, we had a budget cut. And surprisingly for me, the budget cut, which was supposed to be 30% across the board, the vote for ICT was 100%. So what that meant is that we were thrown back into total disarray, we could not go on. I have said we are here today courtesy of IDLO. If we have no funds, we will not move on. I'm sure the members of parliament are listening to me. The service delivery, the judiciary service delivery is to the people you represent. You don't give us enough resources, the cases will drag on for long periods. Let me end there. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to me. And I want to thank all of you for finding time to come, especially during this period when quite a number of people are scared, like myself, to get to places where you can easily get infected. But we are doing our very best. And all I want to urge is that let us take this pandemic seriously, especially our people in the countryside. Quite a number of people are, what do they say? EO. And they are walking around comfortably. And we take it lightly. Wait until it knocks in your home. Then you will say, yes, there is a problem here. Let us take this seriously. Let us cooperate with the Ministry of Health and take care of ourselves as we move forward. May God bless you abundantly. Thank you very much for listening to me.